everybody, welcome back to lesson 12. Also, it's the 5th book in a mini unit on the 3 little pigs. So at the end of this video will be a few different ideas of things you can try at home to extend the thinking we started with this unit. So definitely save some time to try some of those things because I've done them in class and they're like a slam dunk every time. So definitely give it a try. So this is going to be my last recording for today. I've been on a recording binge to get as many lessons out there as I can for you. So the next time you see me, I will hopefully look a little more refreshed because I'm a little worn after recording so many videos back to back. So here we go. Lesson 12, thinking about the 3 little pigs. So let's start by reminding ourselves about what happened in this story and what this author changed. So parents, families, as much as you can, have your children tell this back to you. So the goal is to have the kids talking as much as possible about the content and having adult voices be minimal and really just there to guide if they're off track. So as much as possible, have them retell this story to you, as many of the details as they can remember. And we'll come back together. So pause here so you can have that conversation. So now hopefully you've had that conversation. Maybe you've even been looking back at your chart to ground your conversation and the work we've been doing. So now we have to think about a prediction for our next book. So we're thinking about the sorts of things that authors have changed in the 3 versions we've already done. Now let's look at our new one. This is one of my favorites. I mean, all 5 of these have been my favorites. That's why they made the cut. I have about 20 more downstairs. So if you love these so much and you really want more, please tell me. Give me some input so that I know what to give you back. So this is the last one for now. This is called The 3 Horrid Little Pigs. I really hope that I am sharing with you for the first time because these are gems. The 3 Horrid Little Pigs by Liz Pichon, who is very nice, it says in parentheses. It really says it right there, who is very nice. The 3 Horrid Little Pigs. So thinking about the title, looking at the illustrations, and thinking about the kinds of things that the authors have changed in the books we've already read, start making predictions, whether it's to yourself or talking together. What could happen in the story? What might the author choose to do? So if you still need time to talk, pause, because I'm going to go ahead and move on. So right away, one thing I love to do is really notice details. So like right away, my eye goes here. There's this little wolf at the back with an interesting expression on his face. He looks almost surprised or worried. And then look at the faces of these little pigs. I see furrowed eyebrows. I see frowns. I see sticking out tongues. And so that's how we can figure out what horrid means. So horrid sounds a lot like horrible. And they kind of go together. It means really bad. So these are kind of naughty pigs. Let's read and see why they're naughty. So this is that folk tale, an alternative folk tale. So the author has taken this story and flipped it around. Look at those details. They've left a trail behind them. Can you see that? Paint and food scraps. There's even a little detail here. Can you tell? The 3 Horrid Little Pigs by Liz Pichon. Once upon a time, there's that beginning again. Once upon a time, 3 horrid little pigs lived with their mother in a tiny house. The little pigs were very bad and they drove their mother crazy. I've had enough of you, pesky pigs, she told them. It's about time you moved out and made your own way in the world. So she packed their bags and sent them away. Now look at how the author moved those words to really make it clear. Sent them away. Not only are the words separate from each other, but they also get larger as you go down. That means that you're supposed to sort of make them get a little bit louder. Sent them away. Look it down here. Out! Stop pushing. This is a very big change from the original story. The first horrid little pig came across a big pile of straw. This straw is perfect for me to build my house, he thought. So can you tell over there where he got the straw from? That's important to notice. We're going to need that later. But the little pig was lazy and he didn't make his straw house very strong at all. Luckily, a big friendly wolf, who just happened to be a builder, was passing by. Good grief, said the wolf. What a mess this house is. I'll see if I can help. Good enough. Little pig, may I come in? Asked the wolf. No way, shouted the pig. Not by the hairs of my chinny chin chin will I let a wolf in. Put one paw on my house, and I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll kick you out. I only wanted to help, said the wolf sadly, and he went on his way. Wow, this is a great place to stop. So much has changed. Pause here. Think about those elements we've been talking about. What has the author changed? How is this different from the original version? So hopefully you've talked about that together. Let's read on and see what else continues to change as we read. The second horrid little pig found a huge pile of twigs. These twigs will make a great house for me, he thought. But the little pig was even lazier than his brother. So the house was a disaster. When the friendly wolf saw the terrible tangle of twigs, he thought, oh no, that house is an accident waiting to happen. I'd better help. Now, just like before, make sure you're inferring or figuring out where these sticks came from. So if you look up in this corner, it's giving you a clue about where the pig got those sticks, because later we're going to need that. Little pig, may I come in? Asked the wolf. Get lost, shouted the rude little pig. Not by the hairs of my chinny chin chin will I let a wolf in. Put one paw on my house and I'll puff and, put one paw on my house and I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll throw you right out. Look, they did it again. The words got bigger each time. I'm sorry, said the wolf. I only wanted to help. How rude. Move it, Wolfie. The third horrid little pig was so lazy. Look at that. Look at how big that word is. So lazy. That really tells me to put some oomph in there, just like we've been reading before. The third horrid little pig was so lazy, he couldn't be bothered to build a house at all. So he found a nice chicken coop instead and moved in. The friendly wolf just happened to be nearby. Oh my, he thought, those poor chickens. I must speak to that pig. Little pig, may I come in? Scram, shouted the pig. Not by the hairs of my chinny chin chin will I let a wolf in. Put one paw on my house and I'll huff and I'll puff, and I'll hold it right there, said the wolf. This isn't your house, it's the chicken's house. Who cares, said the little pig. Now go away, all of you. What a horrid little pig he was. So the kind wolf invited all the chickens back to his house, which was built from bricks and very strong indeed. Meanwhile, the house built by the first horrid little pig was being eaten up by a herd of hungry cows. Now remember back to when the pig got the straw. So look up in that corner. There's their hay, their straw, and he went and took from their food. So the cows decided they would take it back. They came and ate up his house. The house built by the second horrid little pig. Now remember where he got his sticks from? Up in that corner? What do you think was there before? Let's see. The house built by the second horrid little pig was being pulled apart by a flock of angry birds. So look down here. They're yelling at the pig. Our nests! You've taken our twigs! What did the third little pig use for his house? Do you remember? Yeah, he used a chicken coop. So he just took somebody else's house. The third horrid little pig was being pecked by a rooster and went wee, 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 all the way back to his brothers, which was just what the rooster wanted. Look, he's getting pecked by an angry rooster. Now, none of the pigs had a home, but the wolf did, and it looked warm and cozy. This house would be perfect for us, said the horrid little pigs. I'm liking this house. Me too. What are you thinking they're going to do? Pause here, talk about it, make a prediction. What might these horrid little pigs do? So hopefully you've talked together. You've made a prediction about what might happen in the story. Let's see if you're right. So they waited until dark. Then they climbed onto the roof and began to slide down the chimney. The wolf heard the horrid little pigs, so he got out a great big pot of boiling soup. You must be hungry, said the wolf. He really was the sweetest, loveliest wolf ever. The friendly wolf let the pigs stay, and after a while they stopped being lazy, horrid little pigs and learned how to build a sturdy house made of bricks, which was big enough for everyone. And they all lived happily ever after. Now, when they say everyone, see if you can figure out who do they mean by everyone. Do you recognize anybody in that house? Hopefully you do. You see the cows. You see even, look who's here. Even Mother Pig is there. The chickens, the birds whose nests they stole, right? Everybody's there. And look at the difference in our characters by the end compared to the beginning. Isn't that fun? So just like I told you yesterday, we're going to think about those two questions, and then I have some extensions for you to do some projects you can work on after this. So I asked you to think about whether how this story is changed from the original. So recording on here, what the character, setting, materials, language, and ending were. So definitely pause here, write that down together. So hopefully you have written it down because I'm going to go over it now. So thinking about this story, the horrid little pigs, the characters were still 3 little pigs and a wolf, but instead of being a bad wolf, it was a good wolf. Instead of being good pigs, they were bad pigs. The setting was about the same. The materials were a little different, sort of different, right? It was still straw and sticks, but that third house, yeah, he stole the chicken coop, so that was different. The language was pretty similar. May I come in? Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin, so there was a lot of that same language. And then the ending was different, right? Instead of the wolf getting in trouble this time, they lived happily ever after together. So now we're going to think about my second question. This is the one where you're comparing the stories like I mentioned last time. So please pause the video after you hear the question and then come back when you're ready to check your thinking. So we had these 4 versions of this story, and your job is to think about what common ideas did you notice with how the authors told these stories. Pause here, talk about it, and then come back. So some ideas you might notice. In these last 2 versions, both times, everybody ended up living together, happily ever after. We already talked about how in the other stories, now all 3 of these, there were changes to the materials the 3 pigs or 3 characters used to build their houses. We talked about how in this one, the characters all built together. But so far, all 3 of these other ones, each character built their own or got their own house. So maybe there were other things you noticed, but those were the things I wanted to make sure you noticed. So that's it for my questions about this series. I hope you've kept great notes here because you might want to use this for some of the projects I'm going to suggest. So I have 2 different ideas for you. So the first idea is to use this structure to plan out your own version of the story. So this is something I've always really enjoyed doing with my students. They really get into it and create some really cool stories. I have even been the big bad wolf in some of these stories. So I had a student do Big Bad Miss Alice and 3 little students. I've had students do fairies and dragons and you name it. Kids have thought of a way to tell that story. So be thinking about something you love and maybe make your own version. You can plan out who your characters are, what's the setting, what are they going to build their houses out of, what language you want them to use over and over, and then how is your story going to end? Is there going to be a bad guy getting punished, or is it going to be a happily ever after, or maybe something completely different? So it's up to you. So that's your first project. Your second project is, and actually I'm going to include a link in the description of this video to ABC Ya, because ABC Ya has a really awesome story maker. And basically what you can do on there is you can type out your story and publish it. You can only write a little bit at a time. So if you have a really, really long story, this might not be the best method. But if it's a younger student with a simpler story, this can be really cool. So basically you would type out the story and then you can illustrate it right online and then save it as a PDF and print it out. So I've done that with a bunch of my students. It's a really great modification for kids who struggle more with writing because it's highly motivating and then they get to see their work look really finished. So that link will be below in the description. And then the second project is a design challenge. So I've always had a really good time with this one. Basically, I give my students a set collection of objects and they are tasked with creating a house that the wolf can't blow down. And by wolf in the classroom, I mean a fan on high. So we pretend that's the big bad wolf trying to blow down their house. So you could do this a couple different ways. You could have, if you have multiple children, you could give them each the same set of objects. So I've done things like they each got 12 pieces of tape, 3 index cards, a paper towel tube, a tray, a paper plate, right? So you can make a collection of objects Or you could give each child a different material. You know, one person gets paper towels, one person gets popsicle sticks, one person gets toothpicks, or whatever it is. So you could do it either of those ways, and then switch. If they use different materials, they can try it with another material. So the idea is, with just those limited materials, can they create a house that won't get blown down by the fan? And in all my years of doing this, I've only had a few houses pass that test. So it is really fun. They can try it out, experiment with the fan, and then if you have time, if they're still super engaged, try it again. If their house blew down, try it again, go back, modify their plan, and keep doing it until they could build a house that withstands that force. So that's really great for engineering skills. And if you have a child who tends to quit easily or get frustrated, something like this is a really great way to teach grit, perseverance, the ability to sort of like try again, even if something didn't go the way you wanted. So that's it. That's my third unit for you. That's the end of our 12th lesson and our third unit, the end of our 3 Pigs unit. So when I come back next time, I'll be starting a new unit with nonfiction. So I really hope you're enjoying these. I really hope they're helpful. Please leave some feedback. Let me know if you're finding them useful. If you need more of something, less of something, let me know, because I really want these to be something that help make this load a little bit lighter. So thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.